Hey guys, Fran here from Officially Fran, and I am back to you guys. The court has made a decision. If you haven't seen my other video explaining my real estate hell and the legal thugs, I'll post that video somewhere, but you got to go back and see that, but I'll give you a quick summary. I had a lease with option to purchase / land contract back in 2017 to purchase a home for $140,000 minus a $12,000 option that I paid up front and my $1,000 payments, which I was credited $500 a month towards the price of the purchase in the end, with the balloon payment that was due in September of 2020. I was also supposed to get up to $20,000 of a credit towards the replacement of the septic. At the time that I tried to exercise my option, the greedy man did everything in his power to not sign that purchase agreement, including go to court. After going to court and having his case dismissed, he passed away of COVID, and then his family and whoever, this other thug lady, took over, who, although she signed the purchase agreement, would not come to close. They were extorting me for money and basically wanted to scrap my whole agreement and start a whole new one and have me pay an entirely different amount for this home. So we went to court. I think in my other video I said June 13th. Our actual court dates were June 9th and 10th. They were Thursday and Friday. And on June 16th, my attorney contacted me with the verdict. What I want to do is read to you the verdict. And I am looking at my tablet. That's why I'm looking down so that I can read it. So I am the plaintiff and they are the defendants. So I'm going to start at number 50 on this conclusion. And it says, it is clear from the lease agreement and acknowledged in the defendant's previous denied motion for summary disposition that the plaintiff timely asserted her option to purchase this property in December of 2019 and acknowledged by the descendant on January 5th of 2020. Although descendant and the estate made assertions of various defenses to plaintiff's request for specific performance, the only basis alleged by the defendant in the initial pleading is that based on the offer to purchase presented to the descendant on September 2nd of 2020, that's the one that my attorney ended up doing finally. Plaintiff would be unable to close on this agreement by September the 15th as required. However, this ignores the delays perpetrated by the defendant with proceedings with defendant's subsequently dismissed eviction proceedings. Significantly, once the defendant dismissed those proceedings and accepted plaintiff's lease payments for the June and July of 2020, he waived all alleged default by plaintiff. Lastly, no correspondence or document has been produced short of the estate's assertions at trial, the basis for plaintiff's purported default. It appears to be a moving target, yes. First, it was the failure to close by September 15th. Then it grew to late lease payments and late utility payments. Then the descendant's displeasure with plaintiff's unsanctioned improvements to the property. And finally, that descendant did not agree to the provisions in the lease that call for a new septic field and the price thereof. While all or some of those claims may have been true prior to June of 2020 and the basis of the descendant's notice to quit, descendant waived all of those claims by dismissing his district court case and texting and calling the plaintiff to affirmatively state he wanted to proceed with closing. Further, both descendant and the estate accepted lease payments each and every month from the plaintiff. The plain language of the lease is clear as to the requirements of the septic field set off, and no evidence was presented by defendant of their own appraisal. No motions were filed to obtain permissions on the land to get required 3 quotes, or any witness testified that a new septic field was not needed. The defendant makes a failed attempt to prove fraud in the inducement by clear and convincing evidence, let alone by preponderance of evidence to prove the descendant was somehow impaired from entering into a binding contract due to his poor eyesight. The descendant not only had a witness present at the signing of the lease, the plaintiff drove the descendant to his lawyer's office to go over the lease. Further, the descendant's daughter testified she saw her dad almost daily and that she went over the lease with him. Descendant was able to text message the plaintiff regularly and call associates and lawyers as his advocate. If anything, plaintiff, me, who had no legal advice before entering into this lease, was at a disadvantage, certainly with waiving the right to attorney fees for a breach. I did that, and I'll explain to you why. Further, the descendant had no issue understanding and enforcing all other terms of the contract, yet was somehow deceived as to the provisions regarding the septic field. The plaintiff has substantially performed under the contract by providing the required $12,000 down payment, making all lease payments to date $57,000 as of May of 22, making substantial improvements to the property at her own expense, obtaining contractor bids for the new septic field under the contract, presenting multiple offers to purchase, obtaining pre-approval for a mortgage. At every step of the way since June of 2020, the descendant and his heirs have unreasonably refused to sign a needed offer to purchase in order for the plaintiff to obtain a mortgage and close this property. Yes. As a result of the foregoing, this court finds in favor of the plaintiff and against the descendant's estate. I'm the plaintiff. Plaintiff is to be provided a credit at closing of her down payment of $12,000, 1/2 of all lease payments. 57 through May of 2020 divided by 2 is $28,500, or 58 payments, and 1/2 if the June lease payment was made. It was made. Divided by 2, which makes it, I lost where I was at, y'all. Which makes it $29,000, and a credit of $19,500 for the mid-range of the contractor bids received for a new septic field as required. Descendant estate is to execute an offer to purchase forthwith with the provisions of the total of either $99,500 or $99,000 due the plaintiff at closing. Further, descendant's estate must forthwith execute additional closing documents necessitated by statute. No costs of this action are awarded to either party due to the contract provisions. This order resolves the last pending claim and closes this case. So, that was June 16th. The court found in my favor exactly what I was asking for 2 years ago. Now I have to tell you, coffee. I need a cigarette. Don't get mad at me for smoking. Out of everything that I've been through, you should be lucky I'm not running down the street butt naked with a purple wig on. I want to tell you about the trial itself. I honestly got to a point where I was ready to quit and I was ready to give up and just move. But I was so invested in, I've paid this lawyer a lot of money. It's 2 years till I got to a point to where I couldn't walk away. And if I walked away and just gave up, somewhere out there would have been people saying, oh yeah, she didn't make her payments, we threw her out, that kind of thing. And I simply couldn't have that. So no matter what rumor or whatever mess that they try to say, I got that legal document. There was a whole trial, which is transcribed and taped and all of that kind of stuff. But I put a lot into that house, a lot, to get it to appraise at what it was. It was not COVID alone that made that house appraise. I completely changed that house. And to think, I honestly believe that they were trying to wear me down, run my money out, run my patience out. And believe me, I was there. I was there. But I just couldn't walk away. You know, at some point, when you deep in the fight, you there. You just there. When I tell you the shenanigans, that wasn't it. These people were driving by the house, taking pictures. The mean, evil, greedy lady actually came over to the house one day as if I wasn't even there. Just invited somebody over, getting out of her car. I had to actually escort her off the property. And it was amazing. The daughters who completely just lied. And when I say he had daughters, they weren't young. We're not talking about teenagers, 20-year-old, 30-year-olds. I don't even think they're 40. They are in the 40 and 50s like me. And this is what you chose to do. You could have done this, him or you, could have done this 2 years ago. Because guess what? Just as I have attorney fees, you got attorney fees. And in the end, they had a $60-something thousand mortgage on this. Let me do the math for you. Now, my payment to you is $99,000. Let's just say 100 so the number is even. They have I think it's $65,000 mortgage. So out of that 90, 65, 75, 85, 90, that's $25,000, right? $35,000 that they would get, of which they have to give me back now $19,500. So that just took your money down. So now you're looking at what? I'll do the math, but that's like $15,000 that you now walk away with. But you probably owe that to the attorney. So you literally are at zero, probably. If not, you get your little $15,000. You could have gotten that 2 years ago, and just think about it. It would have been a little bit more. Not to mention the fact that they still collected that additional $500 from me a month for 2 years. That is $12,000, y'all. And I'm going back to get that $12,000. The point is, the judge found in my favor. And so the story is not done, because now they actually have to perform. So here's your final recap, or almost a final recap. As of today, July 23rd, they still have refused to sign the purchase agreement as ordered by the court, which means going back to the court, which means me paying my lawyer to process more documents. Stay tuned for the final. I'm not sure when that's going to come. Thanks for watching Fran, officially Fran. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll know when I post my next video. Bye guys. Stay safe.